Have you ever wondered what's in hiring managers' mind? What kind of values is this person looking for? And why are they so important? And how does he spot right people within such a short amount of time? In this episode, I'm going to ask these deep questions to my friend David Sang, who's been hiring top talents not only for fastest growing startups, but also for a Fortune 500 company. David is currently working at Verkada, one of the unicorn startups in Silicon Valley, to build a business from the ground up. I've been eager to introduce David to all of you because he's one of the smartest yet the most brutally honest people that I know so far. So you get to hear what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Are you ready? Let's get started. Thank you so much, David, for being here today. I'm super excited to talk about the traits of top performance in a job interview and why those traits are so important for hiring managers. You've been obviously, been hired by someone else, but you actually hire a lot of top talents in Silicon Valley. So when you're hiring for your team members, what elements do you look for?
My hiring criteria is usually a little bit different than my other folks that I've talked to as well. So I certainly don't want to speak for everybody, right? Everybody has a different set of parameters. What I think is very important is I don't like to hire for need. And so what that means is a lot of times people say, hey, I have a specific job that I need to get filled, and I just want somebody who's going to do that job. So I don't like to take that approach because I think the problem is, the job changes.
Right.
Yeah, you need different skills. Maybe you don't need that job anymore next year. If you do
or maybe the person needs to grow into different roles later on, right?
Exactly. So the way I like to do it is I like to really evaluate and understand the candidate and the person. And so really what I look for is two things. I look for a lot of an intellectual upside. So that's the first part.
Right.
So I want to make sure that we're getting smart people who know how to solve complex problems and know how to go deep and wide. And then the second part that I look for is people with a lot of the right motivation. Why are we having this conversation? And does the opportunity that I present, is that something that's implicitly interesting to you? The important part for that is, let's say it's Friday and it's 8 p.m. And you're still in the office. I'm not here. I went home because I have kids. But you're still here in the office because there's a hard problem. There's something that we need to solve. Right. I want to know that that person's not there because it's a paycheck or that they have to be there, because that's not going to scale and it's not going to sustain the test of time.
Exactly.
I want to know that they're there because they're genuinely interested in the problem and they really actually just want to get it done because that's something that they think is fun and that they care about. So those are really the two things that I look at.
Right. So in terms of the intellectual upside, so how do you measure intellectual upside?
So it's trickier. I happen to be in a somewhat technical industry. So I am able to, there are sort of quantitative measures for us, which is just your ability to problem solve.
So you actually throw the problems to them.
Exactly. And, I'm not the first person to come up with this, but I do this thing, which is the 5 whys.
What's the 5 whys?
The 5 whys. Yancel you, yancel you, yancel you. The 5 whys. And basically what you do is so tell me about a particular project. Tell me something that you worked on, right? Tell me something that you did this job. Now explain that to me, right? Give me all the details, every detail. And I will ask you in excruciating detail about how you measured the metrics, how you measure performance.
Right.
And then I'm expecting a reasonable answer around all of those different exit metrics, right? Here's the metrics that I cared. Here's the KPIs, key performance indicators that I looked at. Here's the velocity. Here's how it changed. And then I'm going to go, well, why did you do that?
Oh, 5 whys. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you do it? Why did you do it that way? Cool. Let's go deeper. Okay, cool. Well, why? Why is it that way, right? How does that work? And so what I like to understand is basically I want to make sure that somebody, when they're doing their work, they're not just doing it because they're doing it.
Right.
I want to make sure that whenever they're doing something, they're constantly conscious of all of the different moving parts. Every decision that they made had a decision metric, had a framework around it.
Mm.
And I want to make sure that every decision that they made has reason.
Right.
And so I'm constantly looking for the reason for that decision. And it has to be logical.
Okay. So like the reason that I'm smiling is because like a lot of people, especially in Asia, they said to my boss to ask me to, right? Yeah. So like it's not going to be good, a good indication for you, right? If somebody says stuff like that, even if like your boss asks you to do that, like you actually have to, you know, go deeper.
Why did your boss?
Like, exactly.
But everything has a why, right? So even if your boss asks you to do that,
right?
Why? Why did he ask you to do that? What was the underlying business reasons? Did you have a conversation with your boss to understand what the business dynamics that drove him to make that decision?
Yeah, that actually tells a story if this person has capacity to see the big picture or not.
Exactly. Right? Did you agree? Did you disagree? And so the word